Right guys, we've had a tricky build, but I think this is going to be that issue. So welcome to stage 21. This is the main cab body and details, installing the rear cab doors and the cab roof. I can't wait. So big old piece, and you see we've got loads of pieces inside. When you look at that you just think, oh, it's a big piece. There's a lot, there is a lot. You wait till we do the inventory, and I'm struggling with this bag. I might just go whoa, but do an Incredible Hulk. Right, so let's be a little bit careful with this. Lots of packaging, so that is really good. That shows me that Agora cares about the quality that arrives in. Plus this can be used for scale modeling. Could use that for like what do you call it, chipping. Foam is better, but this will work quite well, so I'm not going to throw that away. Right, so let's have a look at our pieces, and I'm just sitting here going, golly gosh, this is a really lovely piece. This is metal. I think we would expect it to be metal anyway, but you can now look at this and go, right, everything we've been working on is now starting to come together. So yeah, that is a piece, and that is the cab main body. So you're gonna have to bear with me guys, because there is lots and lots of different pieces, and a lot of these pieces have more than one. So I want to place them, as I always do, on the table roughly with the layout of the magazine. So this looks like 6 handles, and these are on a sprue. So the only advice I can give you is, there we go, we've seen these handles before, haven't we? We've seen them in the cab just there. The better your sprue cutters are, the cleaner you will get those off. That's the only advice I can offer on that. Right, so we've got some screws, 1 2 3 4 types of screw. So let's get these dealt with. I can see a bag. I'm looking for bags with numbers on. Right, so we have got, let's move this out of the way, that'll give us a bit more space then, won't it? Type C screws. Tell you what, let me just put the screws out, and then I will show you on the actual box that we got earlier on, and that might give us a better look. So C type screws, which is this one, 4 of those. B type screws, 2 of. J type screws, there are 3 of those, and D type screws, quite short look, and there's 4 of those. So let's box these up. So D is a new screw, never been seen before, so we'll pop those in there, and then we'll just salvage that label. Again, I've said this before, I know this is not the most interesting thing for you guys to watch, but if I don't do this, I run the risk of losing the bag. So that's the D type screws. The C type we've seen before, so they will go straight in, no messing. I'm sure that's a song or something, isn't it? Straight in, no messing. B is a new screw, so we salvage that label, and doing it this way, it just saves me having to use my label maker. You know, someone's taken the time and money to print these labels off, so why not use them? And J, which is coming next, is not a new screw. We've seen that before. So you can see, look, I keep saying this, but look at all these leftovers. and now they're giving us more J's. I'm really concerned. I do not know if they're spare leftovers, and I will not know until we get to the very last stage, because it might well be issue 140 or whatever. Insert all those last J screws that you should have been keeping for the last year. Right, so let's get on with these parts, and I think we're going to be identifying these by process of elimination. Rear cab panel ×2. So again, metal effect, looking rather nice, just won't focus. There we go. Rear cab panel. Rear cab vent, that looks like it's going to be this piece along with a couple of other pieces in there. That's rather nice. That is plastic. I thought that was metal for a minute. Then we have rear cab side panel ×2. So it may well be that these are the rear cab panels and these are those. So I might have got these muddled up, but looking at them at the moment, I don't think there's going to be a problem, is there? Look at the size of the pegs, look at the distancing for the pegs. We're not going to get those muddled up. So it could be that way round, it could be that way round. We won't know till we build. So rear cab windows ×2 might be these. It won't be this because there's only one of those. So that is okay, so it might be these. I think this is the rear cab windows ×2. I think they've bagged them up into 2 bags. So nice clear acrylic parts. Then we've got the front windscreen, which is this. That's rather nice. What's that? Uh-oh. That is cracked. That's scratched. So I'm going to complain about that, guys. I'm not happy with that. Let me see if I can do anything about it. It might be. I want to make sure it is scratched before I complain about it, and not just something on the windscreen, because the crack doesn't seem to have gone all the way through. In fact, you can hardly see it from the back. That is a scratch. Now I could sand and polish that, but I don't see how I'm going to with that framework. But look, can you see that scratch there? Just trying to get a focus. Right, can you see that scratch just there? That I don't think that's acceptable. I think I'm gonna speak to them. So I will continue with the build, and I will go through the motions as though there's nothing wrong with this. But obviously I'll try and get a replacement, because I don't think that's right. You know, if there's a tiny scratch. So next we've got 2 folding steps. I wonder if these are actually going to fold. Yeah, I don't think they are. They're too brittle. So next we've got cab side windows ×2. That's interesting. They've got them in 2 different. No, they are the same size bag. Sorry, my apology. Shut up, Penny. So 2 cab side windows. They look okay. Then we've got, I'm going to keep these in the bags, emergency light lens ×6. They're clear red acrylic. 2 external power plugs. There's an awful lot in there for such a small bag, isn't it? Right, so 2 external power plugs. I can't seem to turn that over. So is that obviously where they would plug something electrical in. There's the other one. That's a tiny part. I'll try and get a close up when I actually install it. And then we have six emergency light frames, so I'm wondering if these have got anything to do with the emergency light lenses. But then we've got two side markers. There we go. That's the orange bits. Sorry, side markers. Where are they then? There we are. These are the side markers. We're starting to get some really tiny bits now, and I don't really want to take them out of the box, out of the bags. So we've got in there side reflector ×2, that's the orange pieces, and then we've got a spotlight lens, which you can just see there, and then we've got the spotlight frame. So let's get on with it. So first thing we need to do is take the rear cab vent, which I know is this piece, and note the different size lugs on the reverse side. Align the lugs with the holes in the recessed panel of the rear exterior wall of the cab, checking the orientation. The different size holes should match up. If necessary, remove excess paint from the holes in the cab. And then push to fit in place. So larger hole is there, so that's upside down, so we'll place that into there. And look, we've got some nice stickers on there, some warning stickers. Right, let's see if we're really lucky. Oh, I thought we were going to be lucky there. No, do you know what? I think it's the panel that doesn't fit, not the lugs. See, the lugs seem to go in no problems, but it's that panel. It just seems a little tiny bit too big. I think I'm going to have to get some... oh, no, it's gone in. It's gone in. Little bit of force. Not enough to break it, but yeah, that panel's gone in. That was a bit of an effort. And that is in enough that I'm... oh, sorry guys, I think I just did all of that off camera. So we've pushed that in. You can see the lugs have come through there, so that's absolutely fine. Now it says now take a rear cab panel, and again note there are different sized lugs, and I think it's these thinner ones because I recognize that little push mark. So as opposed to this, which doesn't have them. See, there's only two studs there, and this one has quite a lot going on. So this wants to go along there. You see it's recessed, and is there a right and a wrong way to do this is my question. That's not a brilliant fit, you know. That is not a brilliant fit. Right, I can see why it's not a brilliant fit. It's got so much... yeah, I think it's never going to be a great fit. I think the way this is happening is, I think, let me check the instructions. There we go. Push firmly to fit, adding a little super glue if necessary. That is what I was thinking. Look, that is never going to fit. Can you see, look, that's just coming off. It doesn't take an awful lot of force to remove it. So out comes a fresh cocktail stick. Let's get 3 cocktail sticks, because you never know, do you? And then we're going to get a nice dollop of glue. Give it a good shake. And little squidge there. I have to be careful, because when I bring this super glue to the middle of the table, it has a tendency to, I have a tendency to push my hand in it. Right, so I can give this quite a good layer. Although that would be pointless, as I've said to you before. If you put too much super glue on, it will still stick. It won't stick any harder, but it will just take longer to dry. And I've just dropped it, and then as I tried to recover it, I put my fingers in the glue. So there we go. I don't know if that's right. I think that's gone in the wrong way round. So let's try it the other way. I've just put my fingers in the super glue again, so I've got to be careful where I'm putting my fingers. So don't use this hand because they're full of glue. I don't know. That's gone in okay, but it just, I mean, obviously there's bits to go down here, but it just doesn't feel right. I think it might be okay, but there seems to be a top and a bottom to this, and it seems to be the way you think is upside down is actually the correct way. See, that doesn't really want to go in there properly. It seems it's got to be this way round. That's weird, but you can't see any logic. There's a little raised bit there that goes into that recess there, but right, for the sake of trying to keep glue off my hands, I think I'm going to put the glue onto the cab. I think that probably would have been a better idea in the first place. I think that would have saved me dropping the piece and then getting the finger on it, and then I had to work one-handed or risk getting super glue on the finished surface of the fire engine. See, now if I drop the piece, it's not a problem. I've just done it, look. Oh, this is a disaster for me. Right, there we go, that's on fine. Got a little bit of mark there and I'm a bit disappointed by that. I'm just kind of hoping, yeah, I think that's not going to be seen. There are ways and means of getting it off. Yeah, this is just the spit and polish method, which has actually not done a bad job, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's got most of it off. But yeah, I can clean that up. I am disappointed doing that. That's a bit of a fundamental for me. Anyway, so that's those two bits down, and then already it's just added a bit of sparkle to it. So now we've got some more rear cab side panels which we fit in a similar way, and these are going to go on this side now, and now that makes sense. Can you see how they've got a lip around the edge, and that's going to cover, that's the wrong way round. No, that's even worse. So that's going to go in like that, and that is actually a push fit connect, is what I call a good push fit connection. So that I'm happy with. So yeah, and there's a little bit of a gap there, which makes me think maybe that's not gone down enough. I don't know, but we'll see how this side goes. So this goes in the other side in exactly the same way, and yeah, there is a, you can't really tell by looking, but there is a right and a wrong way. But there you go, that's those panels. They do actually look okay apart from that slight gap. So I don't know, that's better, isn't it? So yeah, I think we're now starting to see which side I want to display it from. Right, so then we've got a folding step to put in, and these are going to go in these little notches there, and that's just going to go in like that, and that is going to need glue. Align the lug with a D-shaped hole, fix in place with a tiny drop of super glue. So they are actually telling us to apply super glue. Now the problem I've just noticed with this, as I put this in, is there is no positive way of getting it in. You've just got to get it level. If I show you on this side, can you see that this one's a lot better, but can you see how it doesn't lock? There's so much movement there. That's, as soon as that happened, I'm just like, yeah, I've got to apply super glue. But obviously what you need to do is make sure that is straight and then allow the glue to work its magic, and you see that's gone in. So obviously what would happen in real life, these steps will fold down and then you can step up. So that's all good. Right, so repeat the other side with the remaining folding step. So we can put this to one side for a moment. I just can't resist. I've got to put, oh, I've put this on there, look, just, it's not screwed in obviously, but yeah, I'll just put that in there. Being a bit naughty there. Right, so the emergency lights are assembled, and that is these, and there's 6 of them. So nice and simple. What's going to happen is we're going to take this emergency light, we're going to put this lens in there like so, and that's in perfect, and then we need to repeat that 5 times. So this is where I don't know, what do? Do we talk about the weather while I do this? So I suppose the obvious question is to ask is, what are you thinking of the build so far? This is not working out so well. I'm going to try using glue tack as a pickup stick. There we go. That's worked charm. So pick it up with I do actually have a pickup stick, a pickup pen. I bought it primarily for diamond painting, and I will get it out because it is absolutely wonderful. So this has a little piece of some blob of blue tack in the middle, and you just twist it and it's got a plunger in and it pushes the blue tack out as you need it. But the great thing about it is, because it's got the blue tack, well, it's not actually blue tack on this one, there's some kind of green tack, but you see how I can pick that up with relative ease, and then I can place that in there, and oops, and maybe I was better off with my blue tack idea. There we go, that's in place, push that in, and that's done. So do the next one. So much easier when you've got something to hold it onto. They're just too fiddly to hold with your hand. And the final one there. And although they're not a firm push fit, but I don't really think they warrant gluing in. They're absolutely fine. Right, so next we want to be placing this all over the cab. So we've got one here, so hopefully that won't need gluing. It doesn't say anything about gluing, so we will just put that in. My phone's just going mad all of a sudden. I wonder why that is. Right, I'm just going to ignore my phone, I'm busy now. Right, so there's one in, just there. And obviously that's not going to light up on the actual model, but it does look good though, doesn't it? So this one I'm suspecting isn't going to go in. Yeah, I didn't think it would. The reason being is I thought there's some paint block there, so that's going to be quite easy to fix. I'm going to get a drill. You could easily use a knife, and I'm going to start off with, say, a 1mm drill. I'm going to measure that against, yeah, I think that's about the same. So yeah, you could easily do this with a knife or a screwdriver, but obviously if you want a round hole, use a round drill. And I think that's a little bit too small, but that's fine. We've just drilled out probably, yeah, that's too small to drill. So obviously if I use a drill bit that's too big, all that's going to happen is it's going to make the hole too big. There'll be nothing for it to lock onto, and it's just going to fall out. Do you know, I think I could just as easily do this just with a drill bit. No, that's too hard. So just a couple of turns, that's all it's really taken, and then yeah, still a bit small. Yeah, I got no idea how big that hole is, but if I just go in with something too big, it could just ruin the model. But I've got a feeling that this is going to be needing a drop of glue. There we go. So there you go. I think that's about, yeah, I think that's about the right size, but I think that is by chance. No, that's still too small. That's still too small. So I'm pretty confident the next drill bit will do it. I'm now jumping from a 1.3 to a 1.5. If anything, the 1.5 might be too big. That's how much difference there is. So there we go. There we go, that's actually gone in perfect. So 1.5 mil drill if you find you've got too much paint block on there, which I had. So that's actually gone in really solid. So that must be the exact width of the peg. Okay, so I'm going to keep that drill out just in case we need it again. So next up we need our two side reflectors. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to tip them out, then I'm going to put this diffuser back in the bag. I really do worry about these small tiny parts. So what we're going to do now is one's going to go in there, and I'm not really trusting this. I would be very surprised if that is a push fit connection, if that's not needing glue. It says push firmly to fit, and I'm going to use my pickup pen, or quick stick as it's called. Obviously different manufacturers call it different things, and yeah, that's going to need a touch of glue. That hole is bigger. Yeah, look, see, it's just fallen out. It's not a problem, because if we get just a tiny amount, it's only a very small hole, we'll put just a tiny bit in there, and then we get our pickup stick or blue tack or whatever we're using to pick small pieces up with. Pop that in there, wait a second or two, and that's still not sticking. Why is that not sticking? Okay, let's get fresh super glue. That could be our issue here. I think maybe this super glue's gone a little bit on the stale side. Is that such a thing? Stale super glue? Right, I'm going to apply. I want to apply just a really tiny amount. I don't want that glue to seep out because these are clear acrylic parts. Oh, I just dropped it. Oh, that was lucky. It was just hanging on the edge of the towel. If it just moved another millimetre or so, it would actually have... I can see what the problem is. Look, we've got a sprue nub. So, just going to clip that. Again, these are probably made on a big sprue and then broken off the sprue. And there's just a little bit of a sprue nub on there. So that might be what the issue was. Saying that, that's fine. Right, hopefully this glue hasn't dried. That's still not glue, that's still not sticking. Why is that not sticking? It's super glue. It's meant to be super, but it's not sticking. Look, it doesn't stick. It's Gorilla Glue. I'm really concerned that my Gorilla Super Glue is not being very super. I've seen this before, where you've got a bottle of super glue and it works absolutely fine, and then just all of a sudden, with no warning, it just goes, nope, I'm not playing. So let's give this another try. Right, I will try and get that out. Yeah, that's not sticking. That is not sticking. Why is that not sticking? Have I used too much glue? Is it not going in the hole enough? Well, I'll carry on, and then I'll see what it's like after it's cured. Sometimes it just needs a little bit more drying time. But again, that super glue is stripping the paint. Maybe that's what the problem is. Maybe, I don't know what this kind of paint this is for it to be stripped to a super glue. Does anybody know about super glue stripping paint? Maybe it's coming out because we're sticking it to paint. So maybe I should be using something else. Right, I've given that a minute to cure. Oh, that's stuck. That's starting to stick down. I'm happy with that then. Maybe I just didn't get the glue in the right place. That doesn't seem to be. That's not sticking down. See, but it's removed the paint. So I don't know what's going on. I'm tempted to put more glue in to give it more, so it spreads about, because obviously it's got to make contact with both sides. But more glue means more squidge and longer drying time. Listen, I'm going to go with that, guys. That one is starting to set hard. This one, I think if I just leave it, I think that will set hard as well. Now I have just jumped the gun a bit. Thankfully I've just got away with it. Right, so the next step then are these, I forget what they're calling them, side markers. This has got a D-shaped connector, so we shouldn't be able to get it in the wrong way, and I can't get that piece out. That piece does not want to come out. It wants to live in that bag forever and ever and live happily ever after. There we are. So 2 side markers. So these are going to go just behind the marker that we've just put in, and I can see what direction they go in. So that unfortunately is going to need super glue, which is not my favourite subject at the moment. But what I think I can do is apply the glue inside the hole, so these will still be quite fragile, but oh, I just lost control. I think I'm going to have to use tweezers. There we go. Right, that's in. And wow, that stuck down really fast. So that suggests to me it was the glue in there not making contact. Obviously if you're sticking a surface together, let's say for example it's not quite flat, if you put a tiny thin layer of glue, you can see it's going to make contact there but not there because it's that shape. So if you put more glue in, it will then conform to that shape, but you can see you've got that gap, you've got more glue, so it's going to take longer to dry. Now this, I have put a very thin layer in, but you can see the size of the peg, it's made more contact. So whereas this one is starting to set hard because it's had a little bit longer to dry, this one is still soft, and that's because I put the glue in. But normally it would have started to go hard by now, so I don't know. Right, so let's have a look at this one. Look where the top of the peg is. I've just glued my fingers together. Right, so the flat side is that way, So we'll load my tweezers up. Once they are absolutely in, double check the D. So I don't know if you can see that, guys. The flat side is at the top, so we go in like so, and I need that peg sticking out, so the tweezers are a bit too far down. There we go, and I can see that goes in, and I think if anything that hole is too big, so we might struggle with this a bit. So we'll give it a go. So we'll go in and we'll make sure all sides of the peg is covered. We pop that in, we release the tweezers, and we push, and again that's stuck straight away immediately. And this is, I keep saying this, these are the tiny details that make or break a model, but it is a fragile sticking out bit. Right, so next up we have got the other opposite side bit. Right, so next we've got two power plugs, and that's these bits, and they're going, it looks like it's, oh, I've got a bit of blue text up the back of my finger. Right, so we've got a power plug to go in there, and we need to add a drop of glue if necessary. However, I want to see, yeah, I think, yeah, it goes flat side up. So I'm going to put that onto my pen, and that goes in, and yes, that will need super glue. So same as before, we're just going to, not going to put the cocktail stick all the way in, just enough just to get a bit of glue on that plug. And I've lost the orientation for this. There we go, flat side up, and then that can go in there like so, and that one hasn't stuck immediately. There we go, that's stuck. Yeah, that's stuck nice and firm. And then there'll be another one. Oh, there isn't another one on the other side. That's interesting, isn't it? Oh, the other one is directly above it. Sorry guys, that's me trying to second guess, and it wasn't a very good first guess, was it? So there's my flat side there. So there we go. There's a bit of glue. Did anyone notice what I just did, or rather more to the point, what I didn't do? I forgot to test fit. I got away with it, but no test fit. Could have ended in disaster. Right guys, so I am going through a cold emergency, so I'm going to do a cut and I'm going to sort my nose out. Okay, my apologies for that. I had a cold about 4 weeks ago, and I was kind of really under the weather for about a day or two. For the next 3 or 4 weeks I've just been runny nose, and I've not been ill, it's just how it seems to go. Right, so next step, we want our sprue cutters, and we've got 6 handles. Now be careful how you cut these. Trying to get a good, there we go. So you'll see there that the handle flares out, then there's a peg, then there's a smaller peg, then there's the sprue. We actually want to cut it where my fingernail is now. It's tempting to cut it where it is now, but it must be there because that peg is going to fit into the engine. So I'm actually going to have to take my glasses off for this. I can see better close up. There we go. So snip snip. Right, now it's saying about 6, so I'm going to cut all 6 off. Snip, snip. I thought I'd cut too much off that one, but I got away with it. Snip, snip. And then maybe I should just add a little look at the instructions, and maybe I should have cut 5 off camera while I was blowing my nose. leaving the one just to demonstrate how to cut things off a sprue. Not that you really need to be told how to cut sprues. I'm sure most of you don't need to know. So there we go. So there is 6 little handles. I'll give you a close-up of one of them. So you can see that what I've got the bottom base of the handle, and I've got 2 little plugs, which is where the push fit connection is going to come in. So these are going to go one there and one there. So I assume that there's going to be some in the same place on the opposite side, and as I suspected, the easiest way to put that in, I'll see if I can get this close up. Right, put one end in, push it about halfway in, then line the second end in, then pushing where the handle is, push that firmly all the way, then finish pushing the first one. And that is a really nice handle. You see how the handles don't stick out, but there's enough gap around there. Obviously my hand's not going to fit, but a 1 to 24 scale hand would fit in there rather easily. This is obviously to aid when they get into the cab. So the next 2 are actually going to go on the back, so we can see that they go there, and these are going to be a little bit easier because they are actually sticking out. They've gone in fine, they don't need gluing in. Nothing stopping you from gluing them in, but I don't think mine, yeah, that one actually is not that tough. I was going to see if I could lift the cab up just with the handles, but that handle, I still don't think it needs gluing, but it's not in there. The reason it doesn't need gluing is because I'm not going to be pulling it about. If I was actually meant to be picking it up, then I would. So we've got these 2 now, so we've done these 2 on the sides. These are just as I had suspected. These are just going to go in exactly the same place, and these are really nice. I am happy with that. Now this one's not going in quite so successfully. I think, yeah, that's because I didn't actually have the first peg lined in properly. That's gone in. That's lovely. You worry when you push it in because it doesn't go, and then all of a sudden it gives, and you're thinking, did that go in the hole or did I just break the tab? And that is, I don't know, I'm not quite happy with that. Yeah, it's not gone in, that's why. Right, see if I can gently persuade this to come out. So we'll check. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of flash. So I'm just going to get a file. That would certainly have explained why it's not going in. Now if I take this down too much, it's going to be too loose, and I'll have probably no alternative but to glue it in. But we'll see how it goes. Equally, it could actually be the hole. In fact, it might well be the hole. So this is proving trickier than I'd like. And that is not the hole, it was actually the handle. The reason I know it was the handle is because I actually turned the handle upside down. So the bit that I filed was originally there, but now it's there. But that's gone in fine. So this will be the last one. And I'm always glad when we put small fiddly bits in, because then it means once they're on the model they can't get lost. I think this is having the same problem. That part of the handle is going in fine. This one is really struggling. But saying that, I think that's in. No, it's not in. I can see it's leaning over. There we go, that's a lot better. Much better. Yeah, okay, I can see there's a little bit. What the problem here is, got a bulge on this side, so I'm just going to file that. Just put that on the file. Don't really want to put painted parts on top of a nail file. The reason I did mention in the video earlier on, thank you to P40F20 for telling me make sure you put the towel down, and the reason for having the towel down is, believe it or not, this cotton mat can scratch paintwork. So if a cotton mat can scratch the paintwork, imagine what a nail file would do. Right, okay, I think that's in. I'm happy enough. I'm comparing the two sides and I'm really liking these small details. I'm just not liking the focus on my camera, but that's really nice. And we are at step 33 of this particular stage and we are still going. So now we are going to attach the cab side windows, and the cab side windows are these ones with a line down the middle. So carefully place the cab main body upside down on the work surface. Well, that's interesting. So one of these lenses I hadn't actually pushed in properly, or it wasn't in very hard and it's fallen out, so I have to keep an eye on that. Right, so place the cab upside down, and then what we're going to do is we're going to place the lens. Here we see we've got a cut out notch on the bottom, and that's going to line up with the notch there. So notch down, and that can go in like so, and it says push firmly to fit. Now it's window glass, it's acrylic glass, so you don't really want to be pushing it firmly, do you? Having said that, if you don't push it firmly, it's not going to go in, is it? That does not want to fit. Let me do the other side, because it might just be, maybe they're shaped. Oh, do you know what? That is difficult, but it will go in. There we go. That's gone in. So there's our window now. So hopefully it was the part, not the window. So hopefully this is going to fit in fine without damaging any of the other pieces that we fitted. I would hate to have to file this window down. I don't know if I can do a color match. I'm trying to keep the window level. Yeah, that's done it. That's almost done it. Almost. It's not in at the top now. It's almost like you push one bit in and another bit comes out. I think it's the window. I am convinced it's the window. Yeah, that's not lined up. Right, it looks like it could, yeah, I think it's the window frame. I think it's just ever so slightly too small for the glass, because I can get one side in, but then I can't get the other side in. So I'm just thinking, do I want to start scraping paint off this? Oh, come on, I'm pushing on the frame. I don't want to break it. Aha, right, that was a real struggle, but that did go in. So yeah, that's gone in fine. Whew. Right, so now we're up to stage 38, and it says take the rear window, rear cab windows, and note there is a left and a right arrow. I can't see the arrow. That might be the arrow there. Yeah, I think that might be an arrow. So oh no, sorry, I've read that wrong. So it says take the rear cab with a note there was a left and a right window indicated by a notch. So this is the right window, and then this therefore is the left window because of the notch. So these are two different pieces. So the notch of each window fits around the screw hole in each top corner of the rear wall there. So we've got a screw hole there and one there. So therefore this, when you turn it over, it wants to go in this way, so the hole is there, and then there's another screw hole there. So we're obviously going to screw these windows in. I can't find the notch. There's the notch. So those two windows are in there, and it says the notch of each window from the inside of the cab fit the right hand window into the window recess of the right hand. Check the notch in the hole. Press to fit. If necessary, use PVA glue to secure these in place. So why are we not fixing them now? Right, I've lost the window now. Oh, here it is. Right, okay. So, right, I'm going to cheat ever so slightly. I'm going to teach you a little trick. I'm going to do a little trick that I've learned in reverse. So, a long time ago when I was gluing some wood together, which I've now lost what I'm looking for. Here we are. I went out and bought wood glue to glue wood together, which is quite a reasonable thing to do, isn't it? However, so a carpenter said to me, oh, you can use PVA glue to glue wood. If anybody wants to dispute that with me, I have absolutely no issues with that. So what I'm now currently thinking is, if you can use PVA glue to glue wood, then surely you can use wood glue as PVA glue. It's just that wood glue is more expensive. So that is exactly what I'm doing here, and I can't find it. Notch. There it is. So I'm going to put a little dab of glue there. It's just something sticky really, isn't it? There's obviously going to be a back wall on this. And of course the great thing about this is that this glue is going to clear dry. Dry clear, not clear dry, dry clear. So there we go, that's in. Absolutely no issues with that. As you can see, that's not falling out. What's that say there? Pinch points, danger pinch points. So obviously that's where something's going to rotate, isn't it? I digress. Right, so that's that window in place. Make sure I get the cocktail stick with the wood glue on and not the cocktail stick with the super glue. Although, do you think I could get away with using super glue? Who knows? I'm not going to give it a try, but I'd like to know your opinion. If what would happen if I glued these in with super glue. The only thing I can think of is that the fumes from the super glue can fog up the windows, but I don't think that would be the case in this particular case, because it's not on the joint. But that's the two windows in place. It's not a super strong bond, but I think there's going to be a back wall going in there, because look, you can't have that as a final finish. So I think that whatever's going in there is going to hold those windows in anyway. I think this PVA glue is just a temporary fix. Right, so position the front windscreen in front of the cab, lining up the tabs at the top of the windscreen with the notches, and then we are going to push fit that in. So we have got some tabs there with some holes, and I can see some tabs there, and that is probably the most simplest way to do anything. That is just going to clip into there. It's not that simple, is it? What could possibly go wrong? Right, there we go. This windscreen is actually fairly flexible. That's still not clipped in. Doesn't seem to. I was expecting a kind. It's in. Actually, it is in. That windscreen doesn't wrap around as much as I would like. And as I say earlier, there is a scratch, which I'm not happy with, but it's not that noticeable. So I don't know. My jury is out now on what I'm going to do. It isn't massively noticeable. That when you're really focused on that scratch, you will notice it. But oh look, it's that shiny. You can see me. Look. Oh. But yeah, I'm not happy with it. Look, these windows aren't wrapping around. There's a big gap there. So maybe we could glue that. I don't know. At the moment, I'm sort of erring on the side of saying that it's a faulty part. But at least I've got it on camera. That it was damaged when I opened it, so we'll have a look. We'll see what happens. Right, so exciting times. I can see what we're doing next. So we're going to get rid of one of the sub assemblies. Can you remember, I think it was at stage 1, may have been stage 2, so it's going to be right at the bottom. And anyone remember when we did the grill and we had that lovely logo that we had to stick down on the plate? And I'm really trying to buy time while I find this part, and here it is. So I can't remember if we did this in issue 1 or issue 2, but this is what we did. Well, this is now going to go onto the fire engine. Look at that, Seagrave. Beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. So this is going to clip, and I thought it was going to clip because you could tell from the tabs on the side. So this is going to go in place there, and it's going to go in exactly the same way as the windscreen has just gone in, which is you need to sort of push these tabs. Push this one with a cocktail stick because I don't actually. I'm going to see if I can flex it. Yeah, if you arch it in, and then as you push, there we go, that's in now, and then just make sure those tabs have come through. So yeah, just flex it a little bit and it just brings those edges in, push the edges in, then let it go, and that's okay. Look, that's in there solid enough. Push the tabs on the left and the right sides, push firmly. So next we need to assemble the marker light, which is this one here. And we need to line up the pin on the marker light lens with the hole in the marker light frame, push the parts firmly together, and I believe this is the marker light lens, and there's a pin on there, and that's just going to go in there pretty much like various other lights we've done before, and that's going to push into there like that. And yeah, unsurprisingly, it's falling out. So I'm going to take a bit of a risk. Tiny drop of super glue, tiniest drop you've ever used in your whole life, and that's right down the bottom of the hole. And now this doesn't want to go home. There we go. So probably should have used PVA glue, because again you've got the risk of it fogging up, but I think we'll get away with that. I think that's in absolutely fine. And then right, so it doesn't tell us to do anything with this. Keep it in a safe place, that's what it tells us to do. So That's going in a bag, and I'm going to put that straight in the sub-assemblies box because it has told us. Actually, I won't. I'll leave it out just in case a later stage means later on in this stage. Right, so the next job is we need to position the cab assembly upside down on our workstation, and I think I now know what all those J screws are doing. Right, so and we need to take position the cab assembly upside down, holding the rear left cab door. Now we have a bit of an issue, ever so slight issue, nothing too major, and I think actually I might be panicking over nothing. We have 4 doors, and I can see we have no issue because each door, if you look at extra bits for the door, right, with the doors being left and right and having different amounts of this, you can see the difference in the doors. So panic is over. So one of these 2 doors, and I haven't worked out which one is left and which is right, and it's not this one, not this one. So this one, right, there we go. So there we go. So what we need to do is push this inside the cab until we get the door on. Is that right? It's not playing, is it? There we go. So that door is in, and that's going to leave this white bit flapping inside. So if we were to now turn that round, we can see that this piece is in and we have a door, and there should be magnets. No, the magnets are on, they're on the actual inside bit, so these are still going to flap. So press the inner cab panel into place against the inner left hand side of the cab. Oh, I see. So that wasn't meant to happen. That was one of the pieces that I said I'm not going to use super glue, wasn't it? And now I can see why we do need super glue. So I'm going to, I'm not going to put super glue on. I'll tell you why. Because I don't think the problem was with the, I think it's the fact that I pulled it. Right. So what we have here is a stuck door. Right. So if you can see, we've got a tab there. Now what we need to do is just slide that into place. There we go. That's in. That is how we get the door in. That is quite, can I use the word precarious? Yeah, that's going to have to be glued in. I'm sorry guys. That is that's coming away. So lesson learnt from the last door, probably better to apply the glue onto the metal, not onto the pegs. I think that worked better for us. So sorry if I've just gone off camera a bit, and I've just glued my finger to the metal, which isn't a problem because it's not going to show. There we go. I've just stuck my hand in the super glue. This is why I don't put super glue in the middle of the table. I've just broken my own rule. Right, so got to get this the right way round. Silly me. So this piece is going to slide in. It's ever so slightly fiddly, maybe 50% fiddly. I can't believe I've just rated amount of fiddliness. So that tab, see the door's kind of in the way now because it's glued in place. it's not giving as much. Yeah, it's that don't really want to play ball. There we go. Oh, there we go. I think we've got that in. Right, so there we go. So that's slid into place. Not sure if I'm totally happy with that. But we have a door. It's not the best door in the world, and I can't see how we're going to open it. It's a little bit stiff. I can't see how we're going to open it once it's all made. How do we open that from the inside? So I think maybe this is one of the windows that I want to think about opening, and then that way I can open the window from the door frame. Having said that, we don't know if that's going to settle. Yeah, I don't like that. Check that the cab door fits well in the closed position. It does fit, but this piece doesn't seem to want to sit well. But I think there's going to be a bit of framework coming from there. From the outside, drive a C-type screw, which is there. Right, that makes a lot more sense now. That's going to hold this framework on. Right, so, and that would also explain why we've not put the rest of those red bits on. Red reflectors. Right, so C-type screw going in there, and that's going to hold that framework perfectly in place now. Look at that. That's in nice. And guess what? This door's working a lot better now. But I'm still going to... You see how it is quite hard to open that door. So I am just going to leave this window open. But yeah, that's nice. That is nice. Overall, I'm really happy with that. So that is trying to slip down a bit, but it's not really going to too much. Right, so then it's telling us fit one of the emergency lights. So this is going to be a cover job, isn't it? Now I can see an issue there. I think we've got some paint block. It's okay, it's a little transfer. Right, so that's going over there, and that's going to hide that screw very, very nicely. Having said that, that ain't going to take an awful lot to knock that off. So, but that is on. So that is a really nice touch. You can't see the screw because we've just hidden the screw. So one day, 20 years in the future, people are going to look at that and go, well, how am I supposed to get that off to rebuild it? You got to know. You've got to be in the know. Right, so next we're going to take the other rear door and we're going to do exactly the same, but on the other side. And this is what happens when you use a bag that's just ever so slightly, probably too small for the job. Right, so now we know what we're doing. That one is glued in, so that's going into there like so. That's then going to come round there, and then we're going to see, we're going to slide that tab in there, and I'm going to close the door. And this really isn't very good, so I think I might have fitted it wrong. I think it needs to... Oh, this is awful. Why is this not working? I think this is one of those kits that isn't hard, but when it can get very awkward. It's this top bit. something going on the top bit that I can't, because whatever it is, see, it's affecting the top of the door. I can see it's not flush. So my question is, why is it not flush? Okay, this is definitely that issue, isn't it? Ah. Oh, I thought maybe it was the hinge. Right, let's make sure we can actually get that door in. Right, so that door is in. So then we can adjust the, right, so let's put that door back in. There we go. It's not really in light. Whether I've not put the, yeah, it's this door. It's the door. That, it's just fallen off now. It looks like it's this bit here, I think. And maybe I haven't pushed it on far enough. No, it's fine, look. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to have to glue this back on. It looks like I didn't glue it. So I think I got a little bit smart and went, oh, that's okay, I don't need to glue those on, when in fact I did need to glue them on. And this is kind of how part works go. You think you're a bit clever, but you don't know, you know, there's a reason why. You know, if you notice, they're telling us to glue sometimes and not glue other times. You know, the chances are there's a reason for it, and I'm finding this out now to my peril. But you know, I'm not the only part worker in the world ever to make a mistake. And you know, this is a recoverable mistake. I'm sorry if this is off camera. You know me, I'm just getting on with it, and I know this is going to be a very lengthy video. And once that's glued in place, oh, I'm getting glue everywhere. I keep doing that today. Maybe today's not really a good day for part working. You know, when you have those days when just things aren't going right. Right, so let's try it now. But the good thing about doing everything twice is at least you get a little bit better at it the second time, don't you? Right, there we go. No, it's not in now. 1 minute it's in, then it's not in. I'm tempted to say this door isn't a good fit, but it did fit quite well earlier on, didn't it? Right, so, and also now we know what's coming next, so we can look for that screw hole. So the lights in 15 to 17 by is attached in the same way. Start by, do you know, I've forgotten what screw we use. Type C. I had to think about that. It's the instruction says attach in the same way, but I was thinking, what screw do we use? Right, so this screw isn't quite lined up, but it's lined up enough to get the screw in, and I'm kind of hoping that as I put the screw in, it will just push everything into place. It's either going to do that, or I'm going to bugger the whole model up. There we go. Right, a little bit of adjustment. A little bit of adjustment. And then, now that door is going in perfect. So, yeah, that looks like it's what it is. Yeah, right. So, happier. Penny is happier. Right, okay. There is a kind of a warp. There we go. That's where our problem is. Down there somewhere. It's sticking out. So The door is closing okay. In fact, it's actually a lot looser than this one. So this one, I'm going to close the window fully because I don't think we're going to need to pull on the door. But you see, I can open that quite easily. It doesn't, I mean, there is a magnet. There will be a magnet about there once it's all, so that will hold that door closed. And I think that's a nice little touch. But I just don't think that panel's going in properly, and I don't know if it's because I've not put the door together well. No, I think that, let me compare it with the other side. You see, that's not gone in too well. Right. So I think I'm going to have to do a bit of manipulating. Right. So I've had a little bit of a mess around with it, and I think that's about as good as it's going to go in. It's not level. I think this piece there wants to wrap around a bit more, but it's in. The window, the door works. Actually, I think I've just found it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see where the problem is now. Right, this little lip wants to go on the inside, but there's a problem just there where that red bit is. It's not going. I can really see where the problem is now. Yeah, let's push that way. I think I'm going to have to unscrew it. Let's use this other screwdriver wherever it's gone. My main screwdriver is a ratchet screwdriver, so I just couldn't be bothered to flick the switch. Right, that's not right. Right. So you got a little lip there. That needs to go inside there, but yeah, okay, I can see what it is now. It's you're manipulating two parts at the same time. There we go. I think that's it. I think that's got it. That has. So right, so close the door. I think that makes the difference, and then no, that screw doesn't want to go in. Why is that? There we go, it's going in. There we go. So now it's even worse than it was before. Wow. Oh no, that's gone in. Right, okay, so it's a little bit out at the top. I don't know if you can see that, but it is also out on the top there, but not quite so much. So I wondered at first if it was just slightly out of alignment, but I think that screw is pulling it out of alignment. Happy with this. So the two questions I've got is, have I put the door in, and also have I actually assembled the door properly? I think I have assembled the door properly, because you've got these locating pins and it couldn't possibly go anywhere else. So if you close the door and then assemble the inner panel, it seems to make it a lot easier to line up. There we go. There we go. Right, so what I'm going to try and do, I'm going to try and hold this panel in as I apply this screw, because I think that when you screw it in, it's going to pull that panel out. So I'm sorry I can't show you. I'm really holding on to this panel almost for dear life. That's even worse than it was before. Oh, that's frustrating now. That would also explain why the screw didn't. Do you know what? I'm going to do a bit of bodging. A word I particularly love. Right, so right, I think I can see where an issue is. I don't know if it's the issue. Right, so that goes in like that. It's all about lining this edge up. So, but as we put the screw in, it pulls it all out. Look, it's well out at the top, really out. I want a see if I can use tweezers. Push this under. What I'm tempted to do is this piece there. I want to cut that out. Because comparing it with this door, it's I think it's too far up. Trouble is, the more I unscrew this screw, the less likely it's going to go in the next time. But it goes in okay before we put the screw in, and then once we screw it in, it pulls all out again, so that you can see. Oh, it's not lining up. There we go. So these parts aren't fitting exactly spot on, and I think that's where our problems are. See, that screw hole's not quite, see how that doesn't quite line up. Come on, focus. See how it's not quite lining up. Oh, focus. That screw hole needs to be down a little bit. And I don't know if it's because I don't think I done the door wrong. But because that screw hole is out slightly, as I put the screw in, it's going to pull the whole door frame into what it thinks is in place. And that is gone again. Right. Do you know what, guys? I'm going to go with that. I know that frame is out, but the door opens and closes. But look, I just think that looks terrible. That's out, and I'm thinking there. I think that's where the block is. I'm gonna do this one last time. Right. So I've just marked with a pencil where I think that's stopping it from going in. see there's a ledge there, and that ledge should tuck behind. Yeah, I've just had an idea. This might not work. Right, that whole lot should sit behind. Let's see if there's anything behind there. So I think I either want to cut that bit out there, or I want to cut this little bit out of the door frame. Now it's a case of which will look less ugly, but really that piece should go in, and it's just not going in. And as I say, have I done, I don't think I put this door on, because like you see the size of those pins, that couldn't go anywhere else. I'm using this file as a pointy stick. See, this is always the question, have I done it wrong, or is the part wrong? Have I put this piece of frame in wrong? Do I need to push somewhere a little bit harder? Do I need to push down instead of up, or up instead of down? You know what, I'm gonna take a big gamble here, but I'm gonna cut that little section out, and I don't think it's gonna show. I shouldn't have to do this. Right, so I've just made a mark just so I can see where the cut is. Oh, this is really hard plastic. I'm going to use my Stanley knife type blade, because I think that's a little bit too tough. Now I think I've just identified it. I bet it's that corner, isn't it? I bet that's what it is. Sorry guys, I'm trying to show you. Mind you, this is a diary build, not a... Now I do think it's that notch, right? So I might even have to Dremel this. So if I got this wrong, I could end up making the model look worse. But I'm confident that that is the problem. I shouldn't have to be doing this. The parts should fit. But just trying to get all the bits that I've marked with the pencil. That's not made a scrap of difference. Not a scrap of difference. So, and it hasn't actually made the part look worse. Right. So I think it's this ledge there then. Right, I'm going to cut that out as well then. Oops. It's going to take some doing, but what I'm doing is I'm cutting little triangles. Just makes it a little bit easier to cut things out. And then I'll cut the other way, and then you'll see little bits start to come off then. I'm really tempted to get the Dremel out. Just got to be careful not to cut at an angle. I want to cut the bulk of it out, and then I'll file it down. There we go. Now, I know there'll be a lot of people going, oh my god, she's hacking away at it. I wouldn't be hacking at this unless I was confident it was going to work. But I do think I have a tool for that. That'll save me setting the Dremel up. It's this. Okay, where's the bits gone? Okay, I had some little drill bits for it as well. Where have they gone? Here they are. Right, so this is a little, you'll see this on another video. I was doing some cheap modelling, and I bought a little set of modelling essentials, and this is part of the kit. And I'll be honest with you, I've tried it out, but I've never actually properly used it, and it looks like today is the first time I'm going to use it. So it comes with these little bits. This is actually primarily designed for nails, but it just seems to do the job really well. So it's not quite as aggressive as the Dremel, you see. I think this ledge is just making it, stopping it from sitting flat. I suppose I should, because I'm behind on this build, as in I'm not one of the first ones to do it, maybe I should be looking at other YouTubers and see if they've had a problem with it. Right. Don't start making cuts until you're 100% sure of where you're cutting. Also with this drill, I'm not going too close to the door. The last thing I'd want to do is scratch the door. Drill doesn't really have a super amount of power. If you press too hard, it actually stops drilling. Right, let's see if there's any improvement on that. So where is that sticking then? It's there. It's there. Right. Yeah, I can't get in there with that. Right. This is causing me a whole heap of problems. I should have stopped when it was just a little bit not great, but that is actually slightly better. That is slightly. So listen, I'm going to go with that, guys, because I could be here all day otherwise. So see what this is like when we put the screw in, because that door's not quite sitting in, and once you put the screw in, it pulls it down a little bit. See, that door is just trying to open. It's where it's pulling the whole lot down. Yeah, I think there's a, it feels like it's not going in there. So it's one of those things where it's not terribly awful, but I know. There you go. I think that is rung it. No, that's okay. That is okay. Still screwing it in. I think that is about one screw away from buggering that screw hole up, because as you know, that's a self-tapping screw, and every time I rescrew that, it rescrews the thread, and eventually there's just going to be no thread left. Right, so I'm going to go with that. At least the door works, as you can see, and it's actually a better door than this one, but it's just not so good on the framework. Now you can see that's a bit wobbly. Why is that not? That's definitely screwed in. But it's not in tight. See, I am literally one screw away from it no longer working. Right, okay, so that's fine. So this has gone on for days. Really hard issue, but I think it's only hard because the parts aren't fitting that well. Right, so as before, we take the emergency light and we pop that in. I think this is one of those issues where if I was doing it live, we've got a problem. This is quite a loose fitting. One side it's going in very loose, the other side it's not going in at all. There we go, got away with that. Right, so I've just turned it around. I didn't want this to be so loose that I had to super glue it in. Oh look, and I've lost the light. No, it's in. It is in, look. I thought I'd lost it. Right, so I am making a bit of a pig. This isn't the neatest build I've ever done. I've got a few little, I mean, I can get these super glue marks off, but it's going to take some work, and this is a bit of a nightmare. I think where I put it in the bag, the fumes from the super glue is built up in the bag. So oh, and that's come off there, so I might be, yeah. So this is the one I had to drill out. and I thought that was a really good fit, so I'm going to glue that one in. In fact, I might take them all off and glue them all in, but obviously that's been knocked off by the towel. But needless to say, like, I've done this and it's knocked it off, but it should be a little bit firmer than that, shouldn't it? And also I can see it's not quite a good fit, and I'll be honest with you, this isn't my favourite kit. This is the most anticipated kit I've ever had. I really was looking forward to this build. Never mind, look, we have high and low spots on all part works, and I've got one or two issues that isn't going as well as I wanted, but on the whole it is a good build. I am enjoying it. Right, so that's the inner door secured. So next we need to fit another emergency light there, which we've just done. And so the next step then is the roof. So we need to take the roof from stage 19, which is this. We've still got a couple of greebly bits there. We got those last issue, didn't we? Right, and I suspect these are going to go in this issue, so I'm going to put those there. So aligning the tabs along the front edge with the recess of the main cab body. So we're going to tuck these wires in. So you've got a couple of recesses there. That's going to go in like so. And I can see that that's going to be screwed. Now I know why we haven't put those details in. Or do I? So I don't think we should have put that in. I will explain why in a little bit. Right, so even this is struggling to get in. There we go, that's in. So it's a bit flappy, but I know that'll sort itself out. So yeah, for some reason it's telling us, it's now showing these parts as not present, and the reason they're not present is because they're hiding screw holes. So that's rather interesting. I wouldn't have put those on, would I, unless they were meant to go on. We were told to put them on, but like you can see, we've got 4 screw holes there for the roof, and then we're going to put these greebly bits on, which will then cover the screw holes. So we now need 4 D-type screws, and I'm going to rely on Old Faithful here. Because it's attached there and it's flapping up there, I'm going to attach these 2, then I'm going to attach these 2. Normally I go across, but I think it's going to be a little bit easier and better if we do it this way. So there's 1 screw almost on, and we have no spare D screws. We have exactly 4 D screws left. Right, we have to switch screwdrivers because that's gone in at a slight angle. There we go. That really wants to go in there. That's like, yes, please get me in there. That's where I want to live. And this one is doing the complete opposite. That's interesting. Right, that's in, but that's threaded. So I don't know if I've rung at that a little bit too quick. Right, so we'll do this one, and hopefully this one will find a stop point. Perfect, absolutely perfect. And that leaves just the 1 screw which I've put down on the cloth, but it's decided to run away. So where has that gone? I knew it hadn't gone far. Right, so this one I'm not so concerned about because this is in very firm. At least then we've got one firm screw on each side. I'm going to use this screw, this driver. I think a lot of these screws are liking the supplied screwdriver better. Right, so now we've got a load of wires hanging down in the thing. So I think I know what's happening next. Yeah, so this little greebly bit can go back in. You see how that covers the screw up, and then push the two lugs firmly in, and then the next bit is the greebly bit on the other side, which we got last week. I'm calling them greebly bits because I can't remember what they're called. I think they're just calling them detail. Right, so we put this piece back in. So again, that's another screw covered up. And in all fairness, I've said this is a lot of stages. To do this, that's 12 stages. So the cab roof has now been fitted to the cab along with the detail. So that is the finished roof. And that I am actually really happy with. Let's do it that way because it is engine number 9. So yeah, that I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I don't like that, and I am going to moan. I think I have the right to moan when I spend, so far this is 350 quid's worth of issues. I am fully aware what the entire model is going to cost me. I think I have the right to complain about bits I'm not happy with, but that windscreen is going to go back, and that door I'm just not happy with. In fact, that whole door has not even gone in now. That's loose as anything. That's where it's threaded. I think I'm going to have to glue it in, which is going to cause more problems. Right, but again, doors, I'm not going to open and close them all the time, am I? So I think that'll be okay. Right, so now we want to turn the whole thing upside down, and these wires that I didn't undo, they now need to be undone. So right, oh, I can't even undo these, look. Right, so there's one. Let's try and straighten these a little bit. Easy way to straighten wires is just hold it there, grip this bit really hard, and just pull it through, and see it pretty much go straight. So now I did see, I think it was in this pack, there is a circuit board. So, and I wonder, I have seen other Agora models where you get to test things well before you're finished. So I'm wondering if the same is going to happen with this kit. I really would like to test these parts. And I've got to be honest with you, this is my second Agora build, but the first build I did was the Terminator. And the Terminator wasn't actually really an Agora build. This is the first Agora build I've done. And you know, it's not as great as I thought it was going to be. I've just dropped something. That's okay, it's nothing breakable. Right, so next thing we want to get this roof in and take the interior cab roof from station and position it in with the dome lights facing towards you and towards the front of the cab. Angle the inside roof down towards the underside of the light bars. It will be easy to fit the cab roof if you tape down the cables with masking tape to hold them in the correct position. So what is the correct position? Is it just there, along there, and then they poke out at the back? Right, oh okay, I see. So this is going to come out, this wire is going to be about there, this wire is going to be about there, and this one's going to be roughly in the middle, and they want to come out avoiding this there. So let's get my masking tape. Let's use my really nice big fat Tamiya tape, very expensive Tamiya tape. That is all of a sudden really loose, and I don't know why. So let's tape the first bit there. Yeah, the point I was trying to make with the Tamiya tape is it's not really much better than other tapes that I've used, but it's a lot more expensive, and I suspect a lot of the expense is to do with the fact it's got the word Tamiya on it. Right, so let's, I think it's probably going to be easier to work on one or two wires at a time and then focus on the middle one. So that's going to go there, and then there's a little bit of detail there. I'm just a bit worried about covering it up with tape, but then again it could also, I think actually it's a channel, I think that is a channel for the wire, so yeah, it certainly makes sense to be a channel, and it's exactly the same width as the wires. So yeah, I missed the trick there, didn't I? Right, so let's pull this tape off, let's pull a bit more wire back, and then I'll tape this side above, and then this tape can come off, and then we'll run that into there. I'm trying to tape these down really solid because I just don't know how much width we've got to play with. Right, so then this middle wire can come up through this little channel there, so we'll take that there, and then we can run that up with that, and then one more piece of tape should do it. And I suspect this tape isn't to actually tape it down, it's just to hold it in place while we put the roof in. Right, so okay, so that's kind of how we check the table. So this needs to come in there, and that just really isn't playing anymore, is it? Right, I think if I'm going to change that windscreen, I think I cannot. Oh, open that door, nearly caught that handle. Right, I've got a decision to make. I think once this roof goes on, I don't think I'm going to get that windscreen out. So I can see why it's so difficult to get the roof in. There is gaps at the back here for the wire. Right, okay, done it now. So that's the roof in place. So yeah, you've got some little gaps there, it's hard to see, but that's for the wires to come out. So obviously there's going to be a back wall. I hope there's going to be a back wall. Right, then we want two screws. We want two eye screws. One's going to go in there, one's going to go in there, and so one screw in the middle there. Yeah, That's an interesting screw. You're screwing it and it doesn't feel like it's making any contact, and then all of a sudden it goes poof, that's enough. But that generally tends to be how metal screws go, isn't it? Plastic, you get a bit more resistance until it's fully engaged. Right, there we go. Right, so slight concern. Oh, there we go. We've got 2 more emergency lights. I think they're going to go on the front. Right, so that's a roof in place. With 3 wires coming down the back. And that is it. So we have got this part is, oh, that's interesting. I've lost the lens on one of the lights, and there it is. It's that front one again. I'm either losing the whole light or I'm losing the lens. So there we go. That's on. That is on. Right, so this piece, I think that's a spotlight, isn't it? Is spare. Left over, sorry. I'm looking for a black piece. Oh, J screws are left over. So the rest is just screws. We've got 2 lights left. So, oh no, I think they've missed that out. Let me go back. I might have missed the instructions myself. So these 2 emergency lights, they do actually go on the front. What I'm concerned about, this is confusing. Right, so I'm going to quickly go through the instructions. The reason I'm going through the instructions again is A, I've missed the lights out. B, can you see there's a screw hole there in the middle? Right, now is it these lights? We screwed a screw in there, then we put these lights in to cover the screw hole, to cover the screw. So is something going to screw in there, and then we're going to use these to cover. Now I also don't remember being told to put those lights in, so I haven't. So, but they've just suddenly appeared on the instructions. There we are. No, that's the side. So the sides are in. Right. I think these have just appeared out of nowhere. You know when you get these instructions and you're like, right, so the front ones are in. Step 18 and 19 we put the front corners on. Then we put yeah, they've done it again on another stage. On stage 37, this one's appeared out of nowhere. Then we put the windows in. Then we put the doors in. And they're in. They've put them in. Right, so step 48, as we're putting this door in, this is there before we've installed this door. Then 2 stages later, on stage 50, it's disappeared because it's telling us to put a C-type screw in there. Or is it that side? Yeah, it's this one. So the instructions are quite dodgy. So suddenly at the end of the build, these 2 have appeared on the end there. But you can clearly see that there are there's going to be a screw hole in there. So I am going to put these into the bag, and I'm not going to install them. So guys, I really do apologize. This is one hell of a lengthy video, and I really don't think I waffled that much. So thank you so much. If you're watching to this point, I thank you for your time and trouble. You really have put up with a lot. So I had a feeling this was going to be a long issue. I didn't realize it would be so long because of the problems. But let's have a little play, see what we've got so far. So obviously none of this is screwed in, but this is our cab seating area, and I think that's going to go in roughly like that, looking at the screw holes. And then this is going to go in something along, I think this is actually going to go into the cab before this sits on the before it sits on the actual chassis. Oh look, the siren fits behind the grille. That's quite a nice little touch. Don't want to push this too much. Right, so there's a bit of gap filling there now. Look, as this goes in and the steps go in, this is going to be a job and hard to get this in. I wonder if it's wise for me to do this. Yeah, now that door's decided to get completely stuck. There we go. So there we go. I think that's going to be the best way to fit it. Those wires aren't completely hidden, and then that's going to go on there, and that is looking quite a meaty build now, isn't it? So there you go. I hope that that has given you a treat for putting up with my building. Real lack of skills today. I know you shouldn't really put yourself down, but I wasn't impressed with my tidiness today. But I think that this is a build that appears to be full of problems, or mine has problems. And now that, can you, oh, I see what's happened. Yeah, this has actually come away. That's going to have to come off, and that's not even attached. Look, oh, the problems. Right, let's see if I can fix this. You know, I'm going to do this off camera, because all I've really done is just threaded that. So I think that's, and I've got another lens that's just come off. That's this one there. All right, I'm going to fix all of this off camera, guys, because I'm just going to end up having a nervous breakdown on camera. So I'll see if I can repair all of this. If I can't, then I'm going to have to buy a new pack. We'll see how it goes. Right, so guys, thank you for watching. Hope you join me in the next issue, which I believe is issue 22. And oh, do you know what, that looks really simple. That's just a wheel, look, and then there's a circuit board there. So what a relief. So take care, guys, and I'll catch you in another video.